Doctors claim that humans are supposed to perform in some type of physical activity for at least 30 minutes a day. And since school pretends that they care about the physical well-being of their students, we're required to take some type of gym or strength training class. Now, even though I'm a fan of playing sports and weightlifting, gym class in school has definitely left me with second thoughts. Gym classes have definitely scarred me for life, and the activities that were going on in the locker room and gymnasiums would definitely make a therapist retire. So today, we'll be discussing the worst parts about gym class and some of my personal experiences with them. Comment down below the worst experience you ever had in a gym class, and like and subscribe if you're new. First, we gotta talk about the locker rooms. Now, school locker rooms might be the only place in school that are competing with bathrooms for the most grotesque places on earth. A whole bunch of sweaty and musty ass niggas. It felt like a fucking sauna in there. These niggas generated so much filth and funky ass air, bro. And since these boneheaded niggas didn't put deodorant on before class, they harbored so many rank ass smells. But their solution to fix this problem is not using a stick of deodorant beforehand, but just to nuke the entire fucking locker room with the strongest scent of Axe spray. I know how SpongeBob and Patrick felt when they were trying to get through that perfume department. These niggas would deadass release a whole fucking clip of Axe and then have our noses and eyes begging for mercy. I'll be trying to get out that locker room like Bruce Banner back in 08. Combine the Axe smell with the humidity of the locker room air, and it concocts one of the most toxic and lethal aromas of all time. And most of the time they literally were spraying it for no reason other than to be public pests. The kids in the locker room also doubled as circus acts. There would be people slamming lockers louder than a Wiz Khalifa pack. Niggas would also treat the locker room like it's Rolling Loud and perform every rapper's discography. That part was actually kind of lit though. And of course there were constant fights in there every week. But the other issue that came with the locker room was trying to change clothes. In my high school there were hella kids that would change in the stalls. And honestly I can't blame them niggas because the weirdos in the locker room made that shit damn near an impossible feat. There were so many peeping toms too. You really had to watch your surroundings when it was time to change. I remember once me and my friend were changing after class and we caught this deranged individual lacking. He was creeping out the corner of the locker. Luckily we caught him before we actually started changing and pressed his ass. We also did our best 6ix9ine impression and told the gym teacher. We never saw him again. I'm pretty sure he just got his hour changed, but good riddance. Now it's time to talk about the fitness test. These days would always catch me off guard. I would be in the locker room getting ready to play basketball or go to the weight room, and the gym teacher would come in the locker room ecstatic as hell like he popped a perk 30 talking about, "We got the pacer today." Few words put more fear in my heart. Now for y'all niggas that don't know what the pacer test is, it's a torture method used on students where they're required to run back and forth from one side of the gym to the other. But the catch is that your time to get from one side to the other shortens as the test goes on. When I was in middle school, I used to take the pacer test serious as hell. Like that shit was life or death. I remember me and some other boys had asked our gym teacher what score we had to get for an A. He told us that boys needed 50 or more to get an A. Fuck you mean the boys? So we asked him what girls need to get an A. He told us 30. Now look, I'm a firm believer in equality for everybody, and I found this to be truly unfair. The grading system also made no sense since most of the girls in my gym class were actually fit, and most of the guys were built like Cleveland Jr. The pacer test deadass used to have me fighting for my life. After about level 50, my lungs felt like I had blown through a fresh pack of Newports. My knees felt like Derrick Rose's in 2012, and I was sweating more than Jordan Peele. But once I hit high school, I realized that the scores that we got on these tests didn't affect our grade in any way, shape, or form. So we would intentionally quit early so that we could get the rest of the class period to do whatever we wanted. But of course, we always had the tryhard niggas who were running like they were trying out for a 10K run. They always thought that they were Mr. Bitches when they would get like 80 or something. But in reality, nobody could give less than a fuck about them, and we were just pissed that they wasted our entire class period. We also had the sit-up test, push-up test, and pull-up test. All were equally meaningless, and nobody in our class couldn't have gotten paid enough to actually care. We also had tests when I took a strength conditioning class my senior year. We were tested on our deadlift, bench press, clean, and vertical jump. We had to lift our 2-rep max, and that was probably the first time I actually used more than 2 ounces of energy during a gym class. I personally love lifting weights, and I'll be lying if I said I had anything negative to say. But we'll come back to strength class later. We also had an exercise where we had to run up and down the bleachers outside, but it was in a snake formation. That shit had my knees feeling like jelly. Every time I went to the top, I thought I was gonna fall off quicker than rice gum. Now we gotta talk about swimming. Now we were only forced to swim in middle school, but the experiences were no less traumatic than the rest. I knew how to swim, but I wasn't Michael Phelps or anything, so I always stayed in the shallow end because I'd be damned if I ended up a headline on the news from drowning. But the worst part about swimming was getting in the pool and getting out. When you would get in the pool, the water would be colder than the middle of a microwaved Hot Pocket, and we spent the entire class period just learning how to float and do backstrokes and shit. But I thought that the water was the only cold thing about swimming. But then we had to go back into the locker room, and when we opened the door, the air would pierce the hell out of my skin. It was worse than the air hitting you when you had to get out the shower. And speaking of showers, we had to shower after swimming too. The showers were straight out of a fucking penitentiary, but that shower part was actually decent because the water was actually warm. But you know, since we can't have nice things, niggas started pissing in the shower. And trying to change back into your clothes after swimming was harder than EDP at a playground. The friction between the wet swimming trunks and my legs was like King Arthur pulling the sword out that stone. And before y'all comment, why didn't you just use a towel? Best believe I did, but I still always had some moisture on me. Pause. So I was always late to my next class because changing clothes would take a couple generations. And side note, there were these mini basketball hoops that were on the side of the pool, and once I went to dunk, it smacked the fuck out of my head on the backboard. I had a big ass knot on my head like I was Tom or something. Now we gotta talk about team sports. Now I specifically want to talk about dodgeball. Now I was lucky enough to be able to play dodgeball with the rubber playground balls for a couple years before our school pussied out and changed them to these memory foam ass balls. But I'll come back to those in a moment. But the dodgeball experience was legendary. There was always the kid who played baseball or softball that had a go-go gadget arm and would whip them hoes at 90 miles per hour. You already know if you had him on your team, then it was a guaranteed dub. There was also the kid who got decked across the face. This happened so much at our school that headshots didn't count, even if it wasn't intentional. And since I was so small back then, I was dodging shit like the Matrix. I was a decent thrower, but my catching made up for it, which I consider kind of impressive because if you ever played dodgeball, you already know those rubber balls are damn near impossible to catch. But back to those memory foam balls that our school eventually switched to. They were so fucking light and wind resistant that even if you used every cell in your body to throw the ball, it was going 2 feet in front of you. Now we gotta talk about the gym teachers. It was so ironic how my gym teachers were always the chunkiest niggas on planet Earth, but they had the nerve to be telling us that we're not trying hard enough, knowing damn well if they try to do one push-up, they would go into cardiac arrest. It was the worst when you would have gym in one of your first 2 or 3 periods. My nigga, it's 8 in the morning. I'm not doing 100 burpees in a minute. My gym teachers were so lazy, bro, but it felt like these niggas had a JBL speaker built into their vocal cords. Every time they would talk, it would shake the room. And they always had the nerve to send us outside when it's a fucking heat wave or an avalanche. They would just be talking about, it's not that cold, stop complaining. Meanwhile, they're decked out in the newest gear looking like the Michelin Man, bro. Now we gotta talk about the tryhard athletes. Now, like I said earlier, every time we had some type of test, these niggas make it their mission to go out their way and try to break some fucking Guinness World Record or something. Even we would just be doing something basic like a game of kickball. They think that they're fucking man of the year and try to boss everyone around. And they overall just take the game too seriously. And it wasn't even like we got graded on how hard we played. As long as you suited up and at least pretended like you cared, you were gonna get 100% for the day. So I have no clue why these niggas insisted on tarnishing our entire gym class. And it's crazy because they don't even be the niggas that are on the sports teams. I'm not understanding you actually played sports for the school, but still, most of the time the people that are on the sports teams be chilling when it comes to gym class. Tryhards are truly their own breed and archetype. And it would get worse when we would be lifting weights. Every day was some new bullshit. But one of the main problems were ego lifters. They always thought that they could bench like 400 pounds but would struggle with 130. The amount of these types of people in my class was insane. They spend more time talking and trying to brag than they do actually trying to improve and get stronger. And then they wonder why they're always hurt and have more injuries than Anthony Davis. If you don't get no icy hot to humble yourself, my nigga, stop ego lifting 2023, man. Let's make it happen. But I think that's gonna cover everything for this video. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for all the love that y'all been showing me, man. It's really crazy, but you know, I just want to thank y'all as much as I can. Comment down below the worst experience that you ever had in gym class and let me know what you would like to see next. I'm for real, bro. Give me some fire suggestions down below, man. I mean it. But all in all, thank you for watching. I hope this video finds you in good spirits. I'm ggrimey. It's been real. I'm out. I love y'all. Peace.